엉덩이 위쪽에 부럽 반점이 글쎄 시신이 없어졌다는 얘기는 못 들은 거거든. 근데 왜 그런데 안무가?
내가 군의관 그놈이 멘톨 알러지가 있어서 거짓말했다는 것만 밝히면 사장님 엄마 돌아가시지 않을 텐데.
우울증 때문에 세상에 그 사람이 있어. 그 사람이 그 비행기 조종사였어. 비행기 몰고 자살 비행을 한 거야.
그러면 안 돼.
야가 누나 언제 오지? 김현석은 맞습니다. 김현석은 어제 밤에 아침을 알고 계시나요? 나 나중에 나 일단 올라가가지고 정리하고 있을게. 알지? 아 그리고 그 기자한테 몰려올 수 있으니까 꼭 잠그고 있어. 지금까지 김영석이 김주를 맹존했기 때문에 그걸 조사하는 강수석을 죽였다고 생각했는데 정말 맹존이가 김영석 지시라는 시시를 바꿀 이유가 없잖아. 아무래도 이 차를 훔쳐내는 김주를 빼는 게 분명한. 대체 왜 그런 거야? 뭐야? 야 뭐야? 사사사? 뭐야? 너 게스트? 씨! 사! 사! 내가 너 때문에 얼마나 고생한 줄 알아? 지금부터 집중할 때 어떤 점으로 계속 잡고 있어. 어?
시간 얼마 안 남았는데.
어딨어? 맹금을 찔렀어. 너무 귀여웠어.
네. 저는 살리서는 안 돼. 경수야, 너가 결국 할 수 있는 최선이 이거여서 미안해. 네 목까지 열심히 살아서 꼭 진실을 밝히고 싶었는데 여기까지인가 봐. 나만 엄마가 되고 싶었는데 엄마가 많이 미안해. 그리고 만수야, 내 아들 만수야. 엄마가 너무 가진 게 없어서 제발 아빠한테 널 보내면 내가 행복할 줄 알고. 미안해. 엄마가 널 불행하게
이렇게 하는데 무슨
이렇게 죽는다고 경수 그 자식이 고마울 것 같아. 이렇게 죽으면 그 자식이 못해 살린다는 것 같아. 내가 좀
이렇게 하니까 반갑네. 얼른 나와.
말개야.
왜? 눈물이야? 빨리 나와.
네.
그게 무슨 소리야? 야, 장난치지 말고 빨리 나와. 왜 이래요? 블루님이랑 축구장이 똑같은데.
안 할 수가 없으니 귀찰 때를 불러 내가 생각해. 이쪽도 나. 진짜 그랬어. 대체 이 몸에서 왜 안 나와지는 거야? 근데 또 어떤 놈이 한 놈을
남원이 찾아와 부탁을 하길래 제가 거짓 진술했습니다. 안 그러면 제가 근무하는 병원 의사장님한테 얘기해서 잘라버린 거. 저도 어쩔 수 없었습니다.
아이씨. 아이씨. 어머니는요?
방금 잠드셨어요. 다시는 저러지 나간다고 나랑 약속도 했고.
근데 이거 사장님이 올린 거죠? 그죠?
제가 누굽니까? 마음만 먹으면 청와대 들을 수 있는 인간 트러블이잖아요.
사장님이 모른 척 하는 줄 알고 얼마나 마음 졸였는지 몰라요. 그때 한양사님이 잡았던 군인분, 그분 증거자료도 같이 동영상으로 올린 것 같던데. 다행이에요. 그 군인분도 억울하게 풀려서. 아, 한양사님! 네? 사고요?
아이 진짜 제스통이 내가 한무강 몸에 들어간 걸 봤으니 더더욱 꽁꽁 죽겠구나. 대체 이 몸에서 왜 안 나아지는 거야? 아휴.
나이스. 알아냈어요.
아,
왜 블루님이 그 몸에서 못 나오는지.
왜?
자기 몸에 들어가면 못 나온대요. 몸이 영혼을 기억해서 그 영혼을 안 놔주고 꽉 붙잡고 있는 거예요.
자기 몸?
네. 어떤 사자가 잠깐 자기 몸에 들어갔었는데 블루님이랑 진상이 똑같더라고요. 결국 그 몸에서 못 나와서 귀찰대가 출동해 몸통째로 끌고 갔는데 귀찰대끼리 얘기하는 거 몰래 들었거든요.
내가 한무강이야? 이건 한무강 몸이잖아.
그렇게는 하죠.
그딴 이유 말고 내가 이 몸에서 못 나오는 이유 찾아라고. 나 사사사가 이 한무가 몸에서 못 나오는 진짜 이유. 사사사가 한무가 몸에서 나오지 못한다고. 역시
선생님, 한 형사님은 괜찮아요?
아니, 뭐 가벼운 뇌진탕이니까 금방 깨어날 겁니다.
선생님은 왜 죽어요? 몸속에 있으면 금방 죽는데.
뭐?
깜짝이야. 괜찮아요? 어디 많이 다친 거 아니죠?
저희가 몸에 그림자 할 거야.
그래서 사사사가 20년 전 강주 평생 이렇게 해보다니까 뭔가 눈치채고
나와 지수. 일단 나와.
와!
안 나와? 좋아. 나 대가리 직접 해줄게. 하나, 둘.
뭐야 너? 조선말 남편의 폭행을 견디다 못해 남편을 죽이고 본인도 목을 매고 영원 수거 임무 도중 사라진 후 100년 동안 목격되거나 발견된 바 없음. 그 어떠한 단서도 남기지 않은 용의주도함과 치밀함을 보임. 3일 만세 운동 영수거 지원 나갔다 실종.
어딘가 죽어 나자빠진 인간을 몸속으로 숨었다는 뜻이지.
김이쁜이 할머니 너무 불쌍해요. 왜 맞다가 자살했대잖아요. 그냥 영영 안 잡혔으면 좋겠어요. 부디 행복하시고.
갑자기 인간 따위한테 돈 좀 들고 그러지만 어떻게 100년 동안 도망을 날릴 수 있었을까? 참으로 불가사리로구나.
불가사리.
너 혹시 그 100년 도망사자?
그래, 나야. 99% 검거율을 자랑하는 귀찰대가 못 잡은 1% 김이군이.
그럼 뭐야? 아가차로 날 밀어버린 게 너야? 너 제스통 한 페이지. 백년 사장님, 한여사 사사살씨 어서 도망가요.
조금만 이제 사사사가 튀어나오는 기억을 열 테니까 널 공부도 기억.
기억을 잃어요.
들어간 인간 몸이 다시 한번 죽어서 튀어나오게 되면 인간 몸이었을 때 기억을 잃게 돼.
죽었는데 왜 사사사가 안 튀어나오지? 사사사가? 그래서? 한명태가 진짜 이씨. 제수도 어딨어?
만안하기로 약속했어.
아, 그래, 깍대시 꽁이지 뭐. 제스통 따위고 비교가 안 되는 이 천하의 100년 보고 도망사자 잡았는데 개천개수가 포장 주고 하는 경우가 있어. 좋아,
잠깐. 너 알고 싶은 거 알려줘.
장면을 쓰지만 이 한방생이가 있다고 하네.
20년 전에 강수는 내 민지훈을 직접 만났지. 시신. 바뀐 시신에 물어봤어.
시신이 지금 분기 당시에 시신이죠. 시신 상태고
건물이 붕괴해서 저가 출산된 지식이 아직
그 형사가 분명 민재훈이 시신 항구를 빼돌린 거 알고 찾아왔어.
그러니까 김준 시신을 바꿀 게 민재훈.
그 일로 민재훈이 많이 괴로워했지.
길 들어오는 놈이 말기하는 게 뭐야. 새 몸을 또 어디 가서 찾는다. 뭐가 그렇게 괴로워? 정 괴로우면 내가 편하게 해줄게. 그 인물, 그 능력 내가 좀 가져도 되지? 아이 하루만테. 그러니까 100년 동안 도망 다닐 수 있었던 게 살인을 함성기 다녔던 거야?
그럼 어떡해? 진짜 죽는 놈들은 저승사자가 옆에 턱 붙어 있으니 들어갈 수가 없잖아. 내가 죽이는 수밖에.
사람을 죽이면 어떻게 되는지 몰라? 넌 소멸이야, 소멸. 전개 최고야.
천개 최고병은 따로 있지.
아니, 한영사가 사사사. 한영사가 나를 진짜. 민재현이 김준을 다른 시신하고 바꿔치기로 했는데 네가 진짜 민재현을 죽이는 바람에 지금 김준이 살아있는지 죽었는지 모르는. 아유 이 할망탱이 진짜. 아우. 웃어? 지금 웃음이 나와? 어? 됐고 빨리 가.
내가 알고 있어. 진짜 김준 시신이 어디 있는지.
무서워하지 말고 빨리 와. 따라와.
진짜라니까. 얘기 다 해줄게. 증거도 있어. 나 그냥 보내줘. 오른쪽 보내주면 김준 어디 있는지 알려줄게.
너 정말로 김준 어딘지 알고 있어?
내가 아는 건 다 얘기했어. 증거는 그 노트북 안에 담겨 있어.
어떻게 그 어린애한테 그런 끔찍한 짓을 할 수가 있는 거야? 하여튼 인간들이란 정말 끔찍하고 더럽군. 김준이 어떻게 죽었는지 그만하게 알면 죽여야 할 텐데. 무진병원에 뭔가 있을 수가 있어.
어떻게 했어요?
문다고. 가 그럼. 혼자라도 할 거야.
네가 나야. 네가 나냐고. 네가 나냐고.
인사해. 엄마가 얘기했지. 우리가 심장도 안 좋은 녀석이 그렇게 엄마가 되지 말래. 그 수술하면 안 나요? 그렇게 엄마가 되지 말랬는데.
네가 나야. 네가 나냐고. 네가 나냐고.
인사해. 엄마가 얘기했지. 형이야. 어디가 근데? 심장도 안 좋은 녀석이 그렇게 엄마가 되지 말랬는데 말도 안 듣더니. 그 수술하면 안 나요? 그게 우리 부강이가 아니 지금 우선이가 20대를 찾기가 쉽지가 않아. 그 학교에서 혈액형 검사할 때 RH-A형이래. 어머나, 그래? 아무튼 이제부터 네 동생 된 거니까 우리 부강이랑 사이좋게 찐하게 잘 지내야 된다? 안녕, 나 김준이라고 해. 그러니까 얘들아, 여기 좀 봐봐. 어깨 동무 좀 하고. 어디 보자. 나랑 꼬맹이가 만났어.
이지연이
다시 묻어놔 얼른. 나 나중에 꼬맹이랑 꺼내놓아야 돼. 학교가 왜 이렇게 조용하지? 오늘 휴일도 아니잖아.
알았어 엄마. 병원에 환자도 많다고 오늘도 못 나온대. 호텔에서 며칠째 이게 뭐야. 맨날 시켜 먹으라고. 짝사랑하면 누나 주려고?
나! 환영이 누나! 가장 너무 평범한데. 영상 컷. 선영 누나 생일 축하해. 여기 누나가 좋아하는 안치한 사진. 그냥 시대가 아니고 가수 친필 사인 받았어. 그리고 콘서트 티켓. 무진에서 한다길래 밤새서 산 거야. 누나, 나 누나랑 떨어진 1년 동안 진짜 보고 싶었어. 나 누나 좋아하는 거 알지? 생일 축하해.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming to the webinar today. We have about 5 minutes and then we'll be getting started.
아줌마!
Can I go downtown at 12:30?
Downtown with who?
Emily and Andrew.
솔직히 얘기해.
Emily and Andrew.
솔직히 얘기해.
Emily and Andrew.
솔직히 얘기해. I gotta see.
Emily and Andrew.
Okay, hi everyone. It looks like we have 2 participants on the line. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Cheryl Saley, and I'm with the online campus. I'm an e-learning specialist. I've been here for about 2 years now, and I've been working with QM since. I'm a APB QMR and IYOC certified facilitator, and I've helped get about 13 courses certified here on campus. And then co-facilitating with me is Monica Munoz.
Hi everyone, my name is Monica. I too have been here at Cal State East Bay for about 2 years now, doing the same thing Cheryl, working with faculty, trying to support you all in whatever way we can. And so hopefully today is an opportunity for you to be able to ask questions and just kind of hear a little bit from QM. This is a part of the IYOC series, which is improving your online course. But today we're going to focus mainly on active learning and kind of how to use some of the tools in Blackboard and maybe even get into Ultra.
Great. And if we can just take turns introducing ourselves. This workshop is collaborative, so it does involve a lot of active participation. So I hope that you guys are ready. So Heather, would you like to start?
Sure. My name is Heather Valhara. I'm a faculty member in Hospitality, Rec, and Tourism, and I've been doing online classes at East Bay for 7 years now.
Great. Thank you, Heather. Hyun, or Sujin, sorry. Would you like to go next? I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, this is Sujin from the English department. This is my 3rd online workshop. Nice seeing you guys.
Yeah, hi, Sujin.
Right? I can see you guys. You cannot see me, right?
Yes. Okay, and then there was someone, Farida, but it looks like she left. Lacey, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Lacey Garza. I'm one of the instructional designers at CSU East Bay. I'm actually in the room next to Cheryl and Monica. You guys look beautiful. And this is my 2nd online seminar.
Great. Thanks, Lacey, for joining us. You might be able to answer some questions about Ultra later. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Oh, and it looks like Elizabeth Wright just joined. We just finished with some quick introductions. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Sure. Missy Wright. I'm a 5th year faculty member in kinesiology.
Hi, Missy. Great. Thank you. Welcome. Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yep.
Great. Okay. So like we mentioned earlier, this is the 3rd part of improving your online course series, and today we're going to be focusing on active learning. But if you've been attending all the other previous to the first one and the second one, then you're familiar with this, but we're just going to quickly go over all of the objectives that you should be meeting within after completing all 4 of the series. And I think Sujin is the only person that has attended previously. And Heather and Missy, I don't believe, right? You guys?
I haven't.
Okay.
This is Heather.
Missy has, right? I don't think so. Okay. Okay, so upon completion of the 4 series workshop, you'll be able to recognize the foundational concepts of quality matters, apply the essential specific review standards of the rubric to your own online course, describe the alignment of at least one module unit in your online course, and prioritize improvements to your online course. Heather and Sujin and Missy, do you guys currently teach online or hybrid, or do you plan on teaching online?
This is Heather. I've been teaching online for 7 years, and I have about half and half online in person.
Great. Welcome. Okay. And Missy, do you currently teach online? Let me unmute you.
Times. Sorry, yeah, I've taught that 3 times, women in sport class this last spring. So predominantly I'm more face-to-face.
Okay, great, thank you. And then Sujin?
Yes, I have been teaching mainly a hybrid class. So I'm going to teach a hybrid class this fall as well. And then I taught like a hybrid class lasts about 3 years.
Okay, great, welcome, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick overview about Quality Matters. I don't believe, I know Sujin's gone over this, but I think Heather and Missy, this might be their first.
I've gone through it. I've gone through the whole program.
Oh, okay.
Heather's like, I'm class certified, so.
Yeah. Let's be a review for you.
I didn't get that far. That was my one. That's my one thing left to do is get a bunch of classes certified. But yeah, I've done the big part.
Yeah,
Nice.
good, great. Okay, so just to review then, for our purposes, quality, part of Quality Matters is more than average, more than good enough. So generally, Quality Matters uses the 85% rule. So this is based on research and widely accepted standards that, you know, we don't really want quality to be at a C level. We want it to at least be at a B level. And this rule will come in handy. Today in this workshop, we're going to be starting a self-review of your own online or hybrid course. And this is kind of what you will use to gauge where your course is in relation to the QM rubric and the individual standards. Okay, any questions about that? Okay. Very quickly about the QM rubric, there's 8 general standards. Oh, sorry, was someone, let me mute people. Okay. There's 8 general standards. There's course overview and introduction, learning objectives, assessment and measurement, instructional materials, learning activities and learner interaction, course technology, learner support, accessibility, and usability. And with the new addition of the 6th rubric, there's actually 43 specific review standards. And all of those specific review standards are divided up among the 8 general standards. Today for this workshop, it's about active learning. So we're going to be focusing on General Standard 5 and 6, the learning activities and learner interaction, along with course technology. Okay. So we are going to be focusing on learning activities, but we want to make sure that we are always going back to aligning with the course objectives and the module weekly learning objectives. So if you've gone through Quality Matters before, you know that the importance of having measurable learning objectives is that you can actually measure what students are doing in their class with the assessments, and then the learning activities, instructional materials, and the course tools is what helps students be able to reach those assessments. Do you guys have any questions about that? We're just briefly going over it. We kind of covered it in an earlier workshop, but if there's any questions about measurable objectives and the importance of aligning them to the activities and the materials and the assessments in the course. No, let me check the chat just in case. Okay. Moving on. So we're going to go ahead and get started in MyQM. Everybody, or most of you, I think, have a course or an account in QM. If not, then please create one. So if you go to qmprogram.org/myqm and either log in, or I think, what does it say when it prompts if you don't have an account? It'll say create account, yeah, or I don't have one, and then you just click on that link to create it. And then welcome, Mary. I see that you just joined us.
Oh yeah, am I new here? That's what it is.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm new here, sorry.
And I can bring that up. Okay, so if you don't have an account, click no, I'm new here. And if you do have an account, go ahead and sign in. Okay. Is anyone having trouble logging in or creating an account? You guys can let me know either verbally or in the chat once you guys are logged in. That'd be great. Thank you. I'll give just a couple minutes. Okay. Okay, thank you, Heather. Okay, Lacey's logged in. Sujin, Missy, and Mary, are you guys able to log into QM okay?
I'm trying.
Okay, I'll wait just a minute or so.
Sure, I opened qualitymatters.org.
Yes, it's qmprogram.org.
MyQM?
And then /myQM.
Okay.
Pull it up. Can you see my screen? And then let me put the link in the chat for you.
It says the page you're trying to reach was not found. So I did something wrong.
Thank you, Missy. Sujin, try using, can you see in the Zoom chat, I sent you the link. Try clicking on that directly.
Chat. Okay, where? Here. Oh, I did. Okay, my email address. I don't have, so I'm new. I am new.
Sujin, were you able to create an account?
I am trying to create my password. Okay. Yeah, I did.
Okay, are you in?
Let's go back. Okay, I did.
Okay.
What did I do?
Okay, so it's over. So at the top, there's a button, the CRMS icon. Everyone can go ahead and click on it.
Okay, something.
Okay, and then for this workshop, we're going to want to click on Start a Self-Review. Sujin, are you?
I am trying.
Okay. Were you able to log in at least?
Okay, hang on. Just my computer is not. Institution. Okay, hang on. It's not recognizing.
I can log on and chat with her.
Almost.
Monica's gonna log on to Zoom and do a chat with you to kind of help you log in. So just look for
Okay, sorry.
no problem. Missy and Mary, if you want to go ahead and enter in your course title that you'd like to review, and then scroll down, you'll notice that all of the standards are listed in the self-review so that you can navigate it. So you can access the general standards here on the left, sorry, the specific review standards here on the left and move through it and be able to read the annotations here. For this workshop, we're going to be covering standards in General Standard 5 and General Standard 6. So if you see the tabs at the top that have the general standard. QM just updated to the 6th edition rubric. So if you've used this tool before, it does look different. In case you're looking at it now and you're like, hey, that looks a little different. They've organized it differently along with the new QM 6th edition rubric. So moving on, let me get back to presentation. Ooh, sorry. And then just don't forget that there is a save self-review button here so that you can save your work as you go. Why is it telling me that?
Because I think it was.
Oh, I know. I know it did. Okay. Okay, so the first specific review standard that we're going to cover today is 5.1. The learning activities promote the achievement of the stated learning objectives or competencies. And in that self-review tool, if you want to go ahead and take a look at the annotation for it. So again, if you click on General Standard 5 and then Specific Review Standard 5.1. So 5.1 again is about the learning activities and making sure that these learning activities align with the course and module unit level objectives or competencies. So we're going to go over a little bit about what active learning is. So active learning involves learners engaging by doing something such as discovering, processing, or applying concepts and information. So this involves interaction with the course, with the instructor, and with each other. So here QM has laid it out so that there are 3 types of interaction for an online course, and that's learner to instructor, learner to learner, and learner to content. When QM does a review, they look at these types of different interactions that occur in your course, and they like to see that there is a mix of all types of these interactions and all these types of interactions in the course. Okay, some of these learning activities may include but are not limited to class discussions, simulations, quizzes, case studies, role-playing, presentations, science labs. Mary, Missy, and is Sujin on? Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Do the 3 of you do these learning activities, or do you guys do, is there anything on this list that you do? Or how about Mary? I know Mary has a couple QM certified courses. If you'd like to share some of the learning activities that you do in your course.
Sure. So for the most part, I do class discussions, but I also consider the peer review function an active learning function. So students are looking at each other's drafts and giving feedback to each other. Actually what I'm interested in is thinking a little bit more about things like practice quizzes and tests and things like that. So, and how to do student presentations, because right now it's definitely discussion focused, and it's, again, student peer-to-peer interaction as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think I actually just worked with people that were on the institutional learning outcomes subcommittee for oral communication. So they were working on assessing oral communication in an online environment. And we actually had students that were able to record short speeches and presentations, and then they uploaded it either to Google Drive or YouTube and shared the link. These were individual presentations, and people used their iPhones, or if they had a camera or even a webcam, they could even incorporate the use of PowerPoints. So this is something that they posted. This particular class, they posted it as an individual assignment, but you could also post a link to a student presentation in a class discussion board, and then you can have students reply to that. Is there anybody on the call that currently does student presentations in an online class and would like to share an example? Or if Lacey and Monica have any?
I was just gonna.
Yeah, I agree. I concur. I would love to do some student presentations. Sort of what Mary was saying, a lot of my stuff right now is discussion boards, and then some quizzes and exam, things like that. So a lot of peer-to-peer, so they have to do a peer review of another person's post. But yeah, this is why I'm here, to learn more about this stuff. So this would be great to hear about. Just even exercises or practice quizzes, just the more that they can engage, I think would really help my students. It's it's like a sophomore level course. So I have to keep that in mind too.
Okay, and Missy, can you remind me what class you teach?
Yeah, it's a woman in sport class, so it's always taught online. It's KIN 2700.
digital classes. Yeah, and I've noticed a lot of my faculty will, because some of them are concerned about students, and not everyone does have a cell phone that records, and so students can always use Zoom, because this option that we're using right now is available to students and faculty for free.
Yeah.
So even though it's not really a recording device, you can get in here by yourself and hit record, and it'll spit out a raw MP4 file. And because it's accessible to all students, this is really at least one of our options right now for a free, affordable, solution for students to record themselves. And then, like Cheryl said, maybe using the discussion board to post those so that students can look at each other's presentations, or just sharing links using YouTube. That's a great way to, and they could also do peer evaluations that way. Especially if you're having a group presentation, if they all get on Zoom, they're all able to do a group presentation and then submit that as a video.
Wow. Yeah.
And then just anecdotally, for this particular assignment that I'm thinking of in this particular class, the students, we posted instructions on how to upload to Google Drive and YouTube. And thankfully it was a hybrid course, so the instructor was able to demonstrate it in class how to do it. But even having like a short tutorial video about the correct way to share the link and submit it. But I say that because initially faculty were worried about, oh, how are students going to record their videos? And that wasn't an issue for any of the students. The feedback that we got, they all have iPhones, or they use their computers, or they all have access to actually record themselves, but you had to be very specific in how you wanted them to share it and then upload it into the course. Just so when you're thinking about kind of planning that out, that was definitely a place where students needed some additional instruction. Great. So maybe later when we get to course tools, we'll go over Blackboard Collaborate and show how that also works and can be used. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. Which is the next session, specific review standard 6.1. The tools used in the course support the learning objectives or competencies. Essentially in QM world, this just means that you're using an appropriate tool to deliver the activity. And this only becomes an issue when like for example, I've seen a faculty member that used that had all their students email the assignment to them individually instead of creating an assignment in Blackboard and having students submit there. So just kind of a misalignment of the activity and the tool. Currently in your courses, what sort of tools do you guys use? Sujin, do you want to go first?
So what is this about? Like the review? What is this?
Oh, so I'm just asking what kind of, so here are some examples of tools. So like discussion boards or announcements in your course. What do you use in your
for my the online hybrid class I have been doing it. I actively using the discussion board and the chat room. No, but grade books, yes, I do. And yeah, I think it's an announcement. And then the plagiarism detection tools, is it Turnitin? I'm using
Turnitin or SafeAssign?
Yeah, actively I'm doing it because of my class. Yeah, that's about, yeah, that's the discussion boards mainly, and like I say, grade books and the announcement. That's what I kind of, you know, communicate with my students, and then assignment and then plagiarism, Turnitin. That's what I'm using mainly.
Okay, great. Mary and Missy, are you guys learning anything differently than what Sujin mentioned or what's up on the screen?
Mary, you want to go?
Yeah, no, I think for the most part, I use the similar ones. I'm looking at the list. I actually use journaling a lot. I like the journal. Simply because teaching the writing courses, I assign them as a true kind of informal journal, so that they partner with the discussion board, so that in the discussion board, students, let's say around the readings, are discussing with their classmates, and then they kind of take that discussion and then they write, let's say, the informal journal, but it's more of a structured writing that I will then grade as a written assignment. And then they have all of that raw material, which will inform their papers. So I use the journals as a tool too.
Yeah. That's a great, I'm just typing that down right now. That's great. Because I find what happens is sometimes on the discussion boards is like there's a little bit of interaction, but I'm not sure if there's that reflection piece that sort of closes the loop. And that seems to do a good job with that. Has it been effective, Mary?
Yeah, I think that, again, I agree with the discussion board. Sometimes they're a little stilted. And even though part of my discussion board requirements, students are required to reply to classmates in a certain number of words, sometimes they're really just, they don't know how to do that in writing.
Yeah.
So the journals, you know, they use the discussion board time and they kind of meet their requirements, and then the journals give them a time to be more thoughtful.
Yeah.
And dig into the reading a little bit more specifically. But at the same time, you know, it's not like the pressure of a paper, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. Neat.
So and I think the students tend to, what I see is rise to the occasion in the journals.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
Does it become onerous in terms of grading or giving feedback?
Yeah. So I use, you know, it has a rubric, and so they're a portion of the grade. And I give, it's also a way for me to grade them a little bit more about their thinking.
Yep.
Than having to dig into like your paragraphs and your thesis statements. So we don't have to dig into all of that in the journal. I can just kind of talk to them about their ideas, and maybe do they need to read a little more carefully? Do they need to think about more examples to support their ideas? That kind of thing.
Neat. Cool. Cool.
Yes. Can I just add to that a little bit?
Yes, of course.
Yes. Yes, I used a discussion board just like what Mary did. It's a little bit similar, just like a journal what she did. I use a discussion board to for the peer review. So I group the students So because usually this activities for the freshmen, they didn't know what to do, what to ask, what kind of feedback they have to give each other. So I gave them like a list of like 15 the questions, what they're looking for, which they should look for from the partners, the peers, the paper, and they answer or they look for the specific aspect from the paper and give each other the feedback within the group. And also there's like mandatory questions they have to ask to each other. So they actually quite liked it instead of, yeah, I do it in class peer review as well because it's a hybrid class, but because I did not want to spend much time in class just for the peer review, so I used the discussion board as a peer review session. The students really liked it because they can save time and within a short period of time, they could read a lot of the papers, the peer papers. At least one person has could read about 5 papers with in-depth of the review. It was really good.
Great. I love to hear that you guys are incorporating peer review and critiques in your courses. I always talk about how I didn't really learn. I learned the most about writing when I had to, when I started teaching an intro to sociology course and had to read, 30, 35-page papers from freshman college students. So I always talk about you can really learn the most from your peers sometimes.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So the next activity we are going to, this should have been, we're going to use that self-review tool. And if you can look at 5.1 and 6.1, and just write in the self-review tool some notes about your course, some ideas that you might have. Look over the annotation and really see if you feel that it's met at an 85% level. We'll take about 5 minutes to do this. Again, it's this screen here, the quality matters, and you can use the top columns to navigate to General Standard 5 and General Standard 6. Okay. Any questions?
Nope, sounds good.
Okay, where can I find this worksheet?
Okay, does anybody, that was about 5 minutes. Does anybody want to share what they noticed about their course in terms of 5.1 and 6.1? Were you all able to write in the self-review tool and save it?
Yep. Yep. I'm just working on 6.1 now.
Okay. Okay. I can, you know, we have a couple more minutes. We want to finish up.
Cheryl, can you go back to the self-review tool? Sorry, in my queue. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay. I know Sujin was trying to get to the self-review, but Mary and Missy, did you want to share anything about some of the alignment with your interactive learning?
Yeah, I'll go. This is Mary. Yeah, so, I mean, I think that I do, I mean, I meet the standards, but I think kind of why I'm tapping into the webinar is that I definitely want to do more. I feel like, I don't know how else to explain this right now. My brain is on summer mode.
I hear you.
I feel like there's not a lot of like dimension or texture to the experience. Like, even though it's varied with, there's discussion boards, there's journals, you know, that kind of thing. I feel like there could be more like dimension and depth and texture to the experience for students. So I'll say, like, in terms of QM, I think I've met it, but I would like to just be a little bit more creative in approach.
Yeah. For me, for 5.1, and this is a really good activity. And one of the things I noticed just jumping into this QM here is whittling down my course objectives and getting those more measurable and more just tighter. As a big picture, I guess, but more specifically, very similar to what Mary says, is getting a little bit more diverse and more comfortable. And I don't even think I've met the standards. I mean, is it the 85%? Is that what we're going by?
Yeah, 85%.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I don't think so. I mean, And I think for me, it's just getting a little bit more comfortable and just spending a little bit more time. I guess it helps when you're assigned the class more often. I've only taught it 3 out of the 30 classes I've taught at East Bay. So if I'm assigned it more, then yeah, there's more motivation to spend more time on it. But yeah, I think just building in 1 or 2 more tools, like getting comfortable with maybe the use of wikis, or like Monica was saying, like the use of video for getting groups together. I see in my other classes how effective they are with peer learning and group learning. So that's a good motivation for me, I think, to build some of that in.
Yeah, that's great. And, you know, a lot of the collaboration tools, so like Zoom and Blackboard Collaborate, can really help kind of give a more personal feel to classrooms. I've been noticing faculty are leaning more towards having like 1 or 2 required synchronous sessions, even if in a fully online course. And they send out like a doodle poll at the beginning to kind of get a feel for when the best time would be. And then they also record it so that they can post it for students that haven't been able to make it. And I'm not quite as familiar with Blackboard Collaborate on mobile, but I personally have used Zoom on mobile devices, and it's really a great tool, and it works great even on a cell phone. So I have an English faculty member actually that is planning on doing just 15-minute quick Zoom calls with her students to go over a paper that they've written. And normally she's given written feedback, but she said that it's just easy, or I'm sorry, in her face-to-face class, she does little 15-minute conferences as part of the class time, but she wants to incorporate this into her online class. And with Zoom being so easy to use and accessible, even the person that might need to take a 15-minute break at work can quickly make a Zoom call from their cell phone. So that's, you know, I thought that was a pretty interesting way to incorporate a little bit of synchronous and one-on-one time with faculty members. Okay, so the next standards that we're going to go over, and we kind of already addressed these standards, 5.2 and 6.2. These are learning activities provide opportunities for interaction that support active learning, and the course tools promote learner engagement and active learning. So I know that when we went over before about what active learning is, it's about doing something. We kind of want that discovering and processing. It tends to have measurable verbs from the higher cognitive domains in Bloom's taxonomy, and and then the types of interactions, the 3 types: the learner to learner, learner to content, and learner to instructor. So I know that QM lists some examples here, which we've I think for the most part have talked about. The collaborative tools, Zoom and Blackboard Collaborate, shared documents or wikis. Wikis, I know Missy mentioned that, and shared documents. I mean, Google Docs are a great way to, if students are writing a group paper or something, that's a great way to get them started working. And then it's nice because then faculty can see the participation if you go and look at the edit history. And then, there's animation, simulation, and games out there. I know that Merlot has some of these types of lessons. Monica, do you want to talk about Merlot a little bit?
Yeah, so Merlot is a great repository that the CSU has set up. And you can go on there and you can search. It's gotten better. I will say at the beginning it was a little intimidating because you can type in like kinesiology and get like 5,000 hits. And it's anything from a PowerPoint all the way up to a full online class that someone has posted and said, here, take what you want. So I'm posting that link in the chat. So Merlot's a great way to go find open educational resources, not just from CSU faculty, from everyone. The California community colleges are on there. And so it's really nice to go in and take pieces from what other people are doing and then make them your own. So Merlot also has the Creative Commons licensing, so you'll be able to know right away which things you're able to like download and completely tear apart and which things you want to try to keep intact. The newest feature, it's not new, but it's gotten better, is their peer review. So there are other faculty that have reviewed some of the content in Merlot and said, you know, this is a great, you know, document, I used it here, or this I improved on by doing this. So you also have peer reviews, so you know that it's quality. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, I'm just going to again stick a link in the bottom, is we were talking about video creation. And so one of the other tools that I really like, it's also free. If you haven't noticed, I'm the affordable learning person. So everything that I try to suggest is free or low cost to students. But Powtoon is actually an animated kind of simulation. And so your students can create videos, but they can use avatars. So for students that are a little shy or maybe, you know, don't necessarily want to put their face out there, they're able to create still short skits, and then you can post those and share as well. And so I also put that link in there, just kind of two different repositories that you can go to and create and explore.
Great, thank you. And then I think most of you did mention that you all use the discussion boards, and as you know, that comes with notifications and depending on your settings. And then there's automated self-check exercises that you can use. These tend to be like practice quizzes. Generally, what I've seen is that faculty will put, you know, have a reading and then maybe do a 10-point, you know, multiple choice quiz to make sure that they've done the reading as sort of a check-in. And this strategy can actually be very useful if you're doing a flipped classroom or even a hybrid situation. You know, flipped classroom, we want to make sure that our students are actually doing the lecture piece online before they come to class. So having a quiz at the beginning that might be, you know, worth some points, kind of gives them a self-check so they can check their answers before coming to class, just to really make sure that they're coming in with some base knowledge before coming to the class to actually try to implement or do group work or, you know, an activity or exercise that the instructor has planned. So that's an option. And then, okay, so if we can go ahead, if you guys want to use that self-review tool again, remember it's on the QM website that we were just on. If you get logged out, you might need to log back in and just click on CRMS at the top, and then you'll be able to find your self-review on that page and then just navigate through. We're going to look at 5.2 and 6.2. And when we come back, we'll briefly talk about 5.3. Okay, so we'll take about just a few minutes for this one.
Mary, I like that you said you'd love to learn how to do a self-check type of quiz. That's really awesome, right? In Blackboard, we can just add a ton of questions, even if it's, you know, like maybe a 50 questions you want to review, or something that would act like a study guide, or even a self-check to see where they're at, right? We can do that all in Blackboard. So definitely come talk to us more, and we can show you how to set that up.
Okay, I'm gonna come walk 3 doors down.
Mary's like, I'll be there in 2 seconds.
We're like way too close. I'll see you in 30 seconds.
Yeah, great.
Okay, we'll take about 1 more minute to finish writing our self-review tool. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Do Sujan, Mary, or Missy want to share about what they wrote for 5.2 and 6.2?
This is Mary. I think that I would say that I don't quite meet 6.2 in terms of the asynchronous interaction, right? So I think for them, I mean, there is some of that. Like I use Zoom as a tool for conferencing with students and kind of doing drop-in conferences. But I don't think that there's as much that I have with that in my classes. So I'm going to say I did not meet that in terms of that interaction, like the shared aspect of things.
Yeah, this is Suji. Yes, when I look at the 6.2, I'm like, okay, I got lots of things to do to make students actually active learner, not a passive learner. And so, yes, there are a lot of things you can do, like animations, like the games that I have not incorporated much. So I think I mainly use the discussions as like the group activities. That's it. It's very limited. And also, as I asked the Monica, I'm really interested in the self-check exercises for students. I think they'll make them to become more active learner because they can check what they have done in Blackboard.
That's great. Yeah, and I just want to point out that for 6.2 standard, they do list some examples that can be used to meet the standard, but that isn't a list of everything that you must do in a course to meet the standard. So don't feel like you need to incorporate all these things just to incorporate it because QM said so. You know, I think you all mentioned that you use discussion boards, and if you guys are able to enhance your course with even just one more tool or, you know, a different type of synchronous or asynchronous activity, then, you know, that would be at the 85% level of meeting a QM rubric. And then also just making sure that we're always making sure that we are aligning the tools and the activities that we're doing with the course objectives. That's really what QM looks for in terms of alignment and looking at QM certification. Okay, and then I said I was going to talk a little bit about 5.3, and I just wanted to mention this because Monica and I are actually facilitating an IYOC online course right now, and there was a question about, there was a discussion forum that they had to participate in about 5.3, and it's actually a two-part, and I noticed that participants were either getting one part or another part correctly, and people were kind of missing that there's two pieces to it. So 5.3 is about the instructor's plan for interacting with learners during the course is clearly stated. So this means that it's about the instructor to learner interaction, and it means, are you posting when you will respond to emails? What's the best way to contact you? What's the best way to ask questions about the course? So whether you want students to email you directly or if you want them to use student open discussion board. So that's the one piece. The second piece is that you've laid out a plan for when they should expect feedback and grades on their assignments. Both of these things just help learners be able to plan for questions that they might have and when they submit assignments. It'll help mitigate any of those, when they send that second email that says, hey, did you get my first email? If they know that you're going to take 48 hours to respond, they're not emailing you every 24 hours. So I just wanted to point that out about that specific review standard, because I did notice just that there was some confusion in our online course. And I know that sometimes instructors don't want to commit to a specific grading timeline because that can definitely vary depending on the time of year and the assignment. I always just recommend to faculty to just put it on the later end. So if it normally takes you 1 to 2 weeks, just tell them to expect it within 2 weeks. That way if it comes a little bit earlier, then they're surprised, but they're not anxious if it's late. Okay, any questions about that?
No, very straightforward.
Great. Any other questions about the workshop or anything else that we talked about today?
No, this is very helpful just to start thinking about a few of these things.
Great. And the online campus, so we're in these 1-hour workshops, we kind of just get to scratch the surface a little bit. If you want more hands-on, you can definitely meet with us in the online campus with about any, if you need a tool demonstration, or if you want to talk about a particular assignment or activity in your course, you can always meet with one of the instructional designers or e-learning specialists.
Cool.
And because Missy is in the kinesiology department. Is that
I
Meg?
think it's me. Oh, I don't know.
Or is that you?
I have no idea. I don't know whose department's who, sorry.
Oh. Okay, so we've been assigned departments, but you can really just ask any of us. So that concludes our workshop. So if you want to claim your badge, Monica, do you want to talk about the badges?
Yeah, so what we're doing is for everyone that attends a webinar, you can get a digital badge. So these can be printed out as certificates and added to your e-dossier or your retention files, whatever that personal file is that you have. And so if you would like an account, you can create an account using csueb.credly.com, and that'll get you started with our badging. This is also going to eventually be available for students, so your students might ask you some questions about this eventually. And then you want to use your preferred email. You don't have to use your CSU East Bay. You can use a personal one if you prefer. And what you're going to do is, once you create your account and you log in, you can claim this code for today's workshop, which is at the very bottom of the slide. So you can enter that code and claim it, and then once we release it to you, you'll actually be able to log into your Credly account and see all the different badges from all the webinars that you've attended for us. Now, the online campus is currently the only department that is doing this. With the online badge system, again, this could grow, but as Cheryl mentioned, for those of you that have taken all 4 in the series, there has been 3 already, and we've got 1 more coming up in August, which is about assessment and grading. If you take all 4, you get a gold level badge, right? So you'll be stepped up from the silver that you see on the screen to the gold level because you've done so many hours with us. And then from there, we've got, I think, 1 overachiever right now that's going to get into our diamond level. And so these are just ways for us to give you some type of recognition and being able to take that back and again, add it wherever it is that you needed and that might help you. This is completely optional, so if you're not interested, you can completely just ignore this and move on. But if you are interested, go ahead and follow those directions. And if you have any questions or follow-up, you can always email myself or Cheryl, and then we can help you further. But I'm pretty sure these directions will get you where you need to be. Okay, Sujin wants those emailed as well, so we'll go ahead and we'll just email these instructions out to everyone just so that you have them for future reference.
Yes, thank you so much. And Cheryl, you just mentioned that you can have the tool activities demonstration.
Yeah, if you want to meet, schedule a meeting with me, I can show you a tool that you're interested in, or if you have any questions about a tool.
Oh, okay. There's like a tools in Blackboard.
There's several tools in Blackboard. So like, for example, there's discussion boards, there's quizzing, there's blogs, journals, wikis. Those are the ones in Blackboard. And then we also have some third-party tools like Panopto for videos, Turnitin or SafeAssign for plagiarism detection. So it really, it depends on what you're interested in.
Okay.
A lot of tools out there.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, because I'm not really familiar with those things. So I think it would be great to see in person how to create them and apply in my class.
Yeah, if you want to send me an email, we can schedule a meeting and just let me know what you're interested in seeing or what types of tools and activities you're interested in.
Okay,
and so you can see a list of the tools that are integrated in Blackboard. If you click on, there's a little tool section in the course content area. So if you click on that drop down, it's right next to assessment. You'll be able to see a list of all the tools that are integrated in Blackboard, and you can start clicking around and kind of looking at those. And then whenever you find one that is something that meets your need, then we could definitely meet with you and review those.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you. I mean, there are a lot of functions that in Blackboard, but I have not utilized at all. So thank you. It's kind of eye-opener. Thank you.
Okay, so I've just emailed everybody the Credly badge information, and that actually concludes our workshop for today. But please reach out to us if you want that tool demonstration, or if you just want to meet with us and chat about your course. Okay?
Thanks so much. Thanks,
And
Cheryl.
would you mind send me the upcoming workshops?
Yeah, I'll send you a link for the Basync. There's a bunch of different workshops, so
okay.
With a lot of different topics.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks again. Take care.
Bye.